Hey, how's it going? It's Grant with the Garden of Eater, and in this video, we've got to tear down both of these racks. All the tanks, they gotta go. The fish, shrimp, snails, plants, even the leopard geckos, we gotta get them out of here. So let's get started. Alright, so yes, it's sad, but we've got to tear down both of these rack systems. The fish, the shrimp, the snails, even the leopard geckos, they've got to go. However, we do have big plans involved for these guys. We're going to move all of the aquariums from here. The 10 gallons will be moved into Jayden's room. The leopard geckos will go onto the fireplace, and then we'll have room for 3 more rack setups to go in this room because Shelby is taking over. She's going to throw all of her fish projects into one room to consolidate it, to make it all easier for her to feed everything, breed, play musical fish chairs or whatever you want to call it with the tanks. But this will make her life a lot easier, and the plans are over 100 aquariums back in our bedroom. But first, let's take one last look at it as a shrimp room. Alright, to start it off, we got these 2 little tanks on the shelf. The one on the right is the 7.5 gallon Fluvalscape tank. We've turned this into our tri-haven of breeding shrimp, isopods, and Malaysian trumpet snails all in the same tank. However, we've also got 2 different types of shrimp. We're breeding green emeralds for the back line in this tank, and we also have some yellow King Kongs, which are doing just well in this tap water on top of all the sear stone in this tank. So now the second tank on that shelf is Shelby's little 5 gallon black rose breeding tank. It started off as a beautiful aquascape that she set up for the Florida State Fair. However, over the years, the broadleaf chainsword has just quite taken over, and there's really nothing left besides that and some Anubias. But she's got plans to tear down that tank and start it all over and re-enter it in the Florida State Fair. Can't wait to see what she comes up with next. Now we've got a project tank where I tried to do a little reverse engineering, where I took the yellow King Kongs and a black Calcio and try to make it so I'd get more of the black Calcios with the yellow gene. However, the yellow King Kongs might be a part of the Calcio genetics, but it's not as simple as just reverse engineering and back crossing with the yellow King Kong to intensify that yellow on the black Calcios. So it's kind of just a mutt tank now, but I don't know where I'm going to go with it from here. Now this tank might look like it's just full of nothing but moss. However, I promise you, there is a bunch of Aurora Blue Tigers in there, but this is part of our problem. If you ever see us discounting moss and selling it as like whole tank portions, this is why. I get to a point in some of my tanks where I just can't simply see any of the colony. Now we've got our blue steels that we made from Aurora Blue Tigers and a Taiwan B cross. I thought that this way would be a for sure faster way to get blue steels to breed nicer and higher quality. However, I was wrong. In the end, it proved that the Tangerine Tiger genes were just so hardy that they were able to breed and get to the end goal a lot quicker. Now this tank is one of our very many fancy tiger breeding tanks. This is a medium grade black fancy tiger tank. However, there is some really nice potential of some of them showing some blue phenotypes, but for the most part, we have culled this tank down for the move to get it ready, so the less stress on the colony while moving the tanks. Now this is one of our pure black Calcio tanks. I've got this tank going for quite some time now, and while usual black Calcios have a yellow or golden body with the black stripings, these ones have a little bit of a bluish hue to the body and black markings as well. And I also get some of the blue dragons that pop out that are blue on blue. So this is a very interesting colony of Calcios. These are our yellow King Kongs that we made from scratch using Tangerine Tigers and Taiwan Bs. We basically gave up on that whole project altogether, was breeding something else, and then a yellow one popped out. Then we have selected bred for what you see here. We're getting really varieties as well as some of them having the white markings, but this is both common with our pure all natural yellow King Kongs that don't have any other genes morphed into them. Now we've got a pure red line crystal red shrimp tank. These guys have done quite well. I've already moved these and split them into 2 other tanks throughout the house. So this is just kind of the stragglers. I thought there was only 3 shrimp in this tank, but there ended up being a lot more. Now this is one of our mixed Pinto aquariums. We also threw in a fancy red tiger female in the mix just to see what would come out and happen. Since it's a cull tank, the fancy red tiger is also a cull, but it is a female, and I decided to throw it in there. She did come out as a cull from one of the higher grade tanks, so you never know what's going to come out of those genes. And this is just another mixed red pinto and steel tank. I do get a lot of red steels out of all the other aquariums that are throughout this room. Not all of them, but the ones that do throw red steels, you get a lot of red steels, more than you want anyways. So I kind of throw them all into this one aquarium. Now these are a shrimp line that I sent out to someone else who just was tired of the culling and all the work, and well, they got rid of the colony, and I managed to end up with half of it from the person that bought them off of them as well. So the Yellow King Kongs, they're a very hard variety to work with. By the end of their life cycle, majority of them, like 90% of them, will turn out to be full solid yellow, so no really variation or any morph to them whatsoever. But it's that 10% that you keep striving for, because if you could breed that 10% with the next generation and so on, you might be able to increase the amount of the adults that stay and they're really morph for a longer pattern. Or longer life duration, or even permanently. You know, that is the main goal. So I was given these to try and work with them and get them going again. You can see most of them have turned full yellow, but there is a really and a couple of the Headless Horseman, which is like a reverse Missouri pattern where there's clear head and then yellow body. Now this is one of our high grade Galaxy Pinto aquariums. It might not look like it right now. I do need to do some much needed culling. It's just so hard to do with all the moss in the aquarium. Once we move the tanks into the next bedroom, I'm gonna go through that moss, and then once that's done, I'm really gonna hit it hard and raise those standards and cull these shrimp down to the bone. Now this is one of Shelby's fish tanks that will probably make it back into the room. However, I'm not gonna try to pronounce them, so
Anthocemium Titaniatum Red Lapis.
thank you, Shelby. That's a mouthful that I'm not gonna try. So this tank has a little bit of blue-green algae, but we're working on that. A little bit more water changes and that'll all disappear. Now this is one of our highest of all grades of Galaxy Pintos. We do have a few boas running around in this aquarium. Again, tons of moss, too much moss. I do need to cull quite a few shrimp out of this aquarium, but you can see the grade, the standard of this aquarium is a little bit higher than the last one. Now this is one of those cull tanks that kind of ended up into being one of a project tanks. These are our red Tang Tie. We really just get a lot of red steels and different kind of Morse varieties of the red Tang Tie, red, orange, and you know, a lot of translucent striping and stuff like that. Not a lot of work to be done with these, just kind of like a fun let it ride tank, but it's also got the Cryptocorn spiralis in it, and we do farm that out of there from time to time, and the Tang Tie don't have any issues with bacterial infection, so they're quite hardy. This is just an empty bookshelf tank. I haven't really done anything with it. Now these are our OrangeEyed blue steels. There are a few reds in there. I need to cull those out. I'll wait until after the move though. But these guys are just gorgeous. One of my favorite shrimp in the hobby right now. Now these guys are red bolts. They came from our blue bolt aquarium, so I know that they're pure red bolts. They are really hard to tell the difference between these red steels and golden bees, so you really got to know the genetics going into the colony. Now this is a cool morph that not a lot of people know about. The Aurora Blues actually throw out some Aurora Red Tigers every now and then. I don't have a lot of them. I'm just trying to hold on and keep these guys going. They don't get a lot of love and attention up on the top row. Hopefully when they get a new spot in the new room, I'll be able to do more water changes on these and get these going a little bit better. Now these are our high grade red steels. The heads are more actual red color than the orangish pinkish color that you see in most of the red steels. Now this isn't quite a cull tank. I won an auction a while ago from a breeder, Andrew Wang, and I just kind of kept these all just going as a tribute to him. He's not really in the hobby too much anymore, but back in my day, he was one of the guys I really looked up to, so I just kind of let this tank do its thing over the years. This is the mixed Thai B tank. Now this is a mixed Thai B tank. If you were to take the last tank with the Thai Bs and cross them with a Taiwan B to add in that double shadow pigment, you would end up with these guys. Nothing fancy with them. I've culled these from a past tank, and I just kind of let these things do their thing. Now this is our original Aurora Blue Tiger tank. We've been breeding these out for quite a long time. They're not the fastest breeders, but the color and everything else that goes with them, they're just such an amazing shrimp. Now this is an interesting aquarium indeed. We've got our Raccoon Tigers. However, almost all raccoons come out looking exactly the same, but a few of these guys have a Missouri pattern where they only got pigment on the head. The rest of the body is completely translucent, so something to work with. This is our Red King Kong tank. Everything from pandas to extremes. This is also where we harvest out most of our Java ferns. This tank has really been prolific from both the ferns and the Red King Kongs. Now this is one where the enemy got the better of me. The Cladophora won this tank. But I got the last laugh, okay, Shelby? Don't laugh at me. I moved all the black tigers, orange eyes. They're in another tank right behind me, breeding perfectly fine already. But I dosed the tank with Razor. It would have killed off all the shrimp. It was a very patient battle, but I won it overall. The enemy did not get the final laugh. Curse you, Cladophora. The good, the bad, the ugly. We share it all with you. We've got no secrets. Before in this tank, if you or in this rack and watch the old video, the first one that we posted of this room, you'll see me bragging about our mutant princess bees. However, I just wasn't able to get them breeding past the second generation. I listened to somebody that recommended to drop the TDS down to 110 to get the breeding to go up, and I just don't think they like that very much because all the breeding basically stopped altogether. I did have a couple too many males of the mutants. I moved those off into one of our other super princess bees, so it's just time. We'll see eventually if whether or not the mutant princess bees are still with us or not. Now Shelby, this is what a tank should look like. Almost no moss. Enough moss to get things growing and get it booming again, but at one point you couldn't see any shrimp in this tank. We had to sell off all the Taiwan moss just so I could work and focus and see the beautiful Taiwan bees in this tank. Everything from black King Kongs to shadow pandas. This is truly a beautiful Taiwan bee, pure genetic tank. Now this has probably been our best little tiny bookshelf tank that we've had in the entire house. It might not be 10 gallons, but you can definitely tell the shrimp don't quite get 3 centimeters in this tank. But don't tell them that. They still breed like maniacs. I get a ton of blue steels and galaxy pintos that have all different kinds of variations, from black back lines to purples to nice little boas and stuff like that. So this little tank has definitely done well over the years, but I think I'm gonna have to retire. It doesn't have any room for our new racks. Now I've got some fish in the room. These are the New Guinea red rainbows. I got these not that long ago at the Triple Crown. Actually, it's almost been a whole year, hasn't it? So we've had them for a while. I've got one male and a bunch of females. I do need to play that whole musical chairs thing, and these guys might produce some babies for us in the near future. Now these are our spotted head pinto tank. This is the black and blue variety. Trying to work more on selected breeding for the deeper, darker blues on this colony. So not a lot in this tank. It's really been dialed down for selective breeding. Now this tank might look like a dirty mess. It is, but they're raccoon shrimp. They like it. For whatever reason, they have been thriving and just producing an insane amount of numbers, with this tank getting full filter change, washout, cleaned, you name it. Anything that could have been done to get this bacterial bloom under control has been done, and this tank has just remained dirty for years now. But the tigers breed. They're super prolific in this tank. I wouldn't change a thing. So this tank's going to be moved just the way it is, and you can't see them all, but there's thousands of Raccoon Tigers in there. And another fancy tiger tank. This is our high grade fancy red tiger tank. We actually have 2 of these tanks, but again, I've dwindled this tank down quite a bit. We've run a sale for quite a few weeks now, trying to move out as many of these shrimps as we possibly could. And this is one of the tanks that, well, it sells quite well. It really does breed a lot. You can't tell by the amount of numbers, but there are still a few babies hanging in there, ready for the next move, and this tank will be jumping in no time. So now these shrimp are a bit of a debate in the house right now. I really like them. I thought they were mine, and the moss was Shelby's. So I've been treating them as if they were my own, even entering them into contests and whatnot. But Shelby really loves these shrimp, so what we might have to do is split this colony, keep these in the room that they're going into, and then Shelby will have her own colony, and then maybe we can battle it out in the future head to head. Now this tank, it's really sad for me to bring it down and move it and risk this one at all, because it has been a goal of mine to produce high quality blue bolts and always have them available in stock. And this tank has made that possible for about the last year or so. And it's going to be rough moving this. I'm going to be real slow, make sure there's not a lot of sloshing or anything like that. But this tank produces a lot of high quality extreme blue bolts. Now these are some red spot head Pintos that we acquired quite a while back, but I've kept this strain pure. It is from DET Aquariums. He used to have a really nice YouTube channel, learned a lot from him back in the day, but he's out of the hobby. I bought his entire shrimp room, and this is living proof of his high grade genetics. Now this tank, again, the good, the bad, the ugly. It's real close to the bathroom. Some perfumes or something possibly might have gone into here because the blue steels just completely stopped breeding in this tank altogether. pH parameters, everything like that have been dialed in. No problems with that whatsoever. So I started to move these shrimp way before I even had plans to move this rack out of here at all. So there's only one solo blue steel just kicking it in here, hanging out all by himself. Now these crystal shrimp I got from Mr. Shrimp Pimpin' himself, Ruben Melendez, from one of our trips down in Dallas, Texas. But these are Michelins. They have a Taiwan B gene, so every now and then I get a nice little Missouri or Blue Bolt. Maybe I'll focus and breed those out and get this to be a high grade Michelin breeding tank that produces a good amount of Taiwan Bs. It's got potential. Now this is one of our project tanks. The OrangeEyed Red Lapis or OrangeEyed Red Devil is also a possibility out of this aquarium, but with the normal eyes in the tank that have the Nanashi and solid white pattern, I'm trying to get that to be passed on to the next generation by crossing it with the orange eyes. And these Nanashi already have the OrangeEyed gene, so I am going to get a good at least 25 to 50% ratio of orange eyes from crossing one of the normal eyes with one of the OrangeEyed Lapis. So that is basically the project, to get more of that white gene passed on to the future generations. Now we've got some more OrangeEyed blue steels. On these ones, however, we're trying to focus on more of the blue head and white body, and that to me is what a true blue steel is all about. So just trying to narrow down on that specific pattern. Now this is another one of Shelby's killifish tanks, the final tank that she was able to mingle into the bedroom, but it is one of my favorite killies in the entire house. It is a blue Galaris, location low. I didn't need Shelby for that one. That was easy one to say, but I didn't get any brownie points. It was too easy. But these guys are lovely creatures to take care of with a great personality. Stick your fingers in the tank and they try and nibble on the tips and stuff like that, but they've got some gorgeous coloration to them. Now another tank of redheaded spotted Pintos. These, however, came from Steven Ramirez. I acquired his entire fish room as well. These, though, have award-winning lineage in the American Shrimp Contest back in Dallas at our very first show. So I've kept these true to their colony as well. Now Shelby, this last tank is all I have left of my own Tangerine Tigers. So I have moved them into this aquarium over here already. We're in the future. These tanks have already been moved. Sorry, but it takes us a while to produce these videos. But this is my Tangerine Tiger tank. Shelby, stay away from it. Now, last but not least, we've got the Leopard Geckos. Rex and Peaches, these are Shelby's little pets. We've got these strictly as pets right now, but who knows, in the future we might have some big projects planned out for these guys. And there you have it, a last look at the 46 aquariums in our bedroom, until of course we make it better and add in another 100 plus aquariums in here with Shelby's fish, of course. So stay tuned. We've got one more metal rack that we have to tear down and move all of those aquariums, so we're going to give you one last look at that as well before we show you the brand new, the coolest fish room for any kid that you've ever seen. So stay tuned.